Hello everybody, Dharmesh here, the man in the arena. The deadline that wasn't. March to March gave South Africa a deadline. 30th of June, leave the country or else. The deadline has come and it has gone. So let's talk about what actually happened, not what was promised. The flop. No mass exodus, no collapse of the undocumented population, no proof, not one shred, that a self-declared deadline with zero legal authority was ever going to do what months of government policy, courts, and Home Affairs enforcement haven't managed to do. What we got instead: businesses shuttered across multiple cities out of fear, not compliance. Police pulled off other duties for weeks to manage a movement that had no legal standing to make demands in the first place. And people, actual human beings, killed in the unrest that followed. That is not a policy outcome. That's a body count attached to a hashtag. I want to be precise about language, because language is where moments like this hide. This wasn't a protest in a way we usually mean it. A protest asks power to listen. This was a group appointing itself as the power, setting a deadline no court issued, enforcing it with no warrant, no magistrate, no judge, no due process, just numbers, a flag, and a t-shirt. And when the organizers dare say, we'll march every week for 6 months until our demands are met, that's not a protest schedule, that's a siege. Now here's the part that will upset people on both sides, but I'm going to say it anyway. Immigration pressure in this country is real. Undocumented migration strains our services, strains jobs, strains systems that were already buckling before a single march happened. Pretending otherwise, calling every concerned citizen a bigot, that's its own kind of dishonesty, people. It hands the entire issue over to the people who handle it the worst. So no, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the underlying issue isn't real. It is. I'm here to tell you the method is the problem. We have a legal system for exactly this. Home Affairs, the courts, immigration law. Now, however slow, however imperfect, that system is existing, and it's not by accident. It's what separates a country that governs itself from one that's governed by whoever shouts the loudest on a Tuesday. You know who you are. If the system is too slow, let's fix the system. If Home Affairs is under-resourced, fund it properly, staff it properly, hold the people responsible for it accountable at the ballot box. There's a registration weekend coming. Make sure you register to vote in November. If the law itself needs to change, that's what legislation is for. That's what public representatives are here for. That's what courts reviewing bad laws are here for. What you don't get to do is to skip every one of these steps because they're inconvenient and replace them with a mob deciding block by block who belongs and who doesn't. And here's the part I need you to actually sit with. Once a society accepts that a self-appointed group can enforce policy because the legal process is too slow, that precedent doesn't stay neatly folded around immigration. It comes for the next issue, and the next, and the next. Anytime people are angry enough and organized enough and impatient enough with due process, we're going to have a problem. Today, it's the undocumented immigrants. Tomorrow, it might be the Indian people. Tomorrow, it might be whoever the loudest group decides who deserves it next. This, people, is not hypothetical. This is how vigilante logic always spreads once it is normalized. So, what I do, instead of setting a deadline with no legal authority, what I would do is sit back and think, what did we just go through? I want the people who are angry about this, and plenty of that anger is legitimate, I want you to put that same energy into the slower, less satisfying work. Show up for local government meetings, register to vote, hold your ward councillor accountable. Vote like this issue actually matters to you, because it does. Push for Home Affairs to be properly resourced instead of quietly ignored until a crisis forces a headline. That's not as satisfying as a march with a flag and a deadline. But it's the only version of this that doesn't end with somebody's body in the street. Let's fix the system. Don't burn it down because you're impatient with how long it takes to fix things properly. That's not weakness, people. That's the actual work of good South African citizenship. The unglamorous kind, not the kind that trends and gets hashtags. So wherever you are in the world, do the right thing. Be the man in the arena. Have a great day.